What's up, Swifties? It's Denise Salcedo, and I am so happy to be back here once again talking about Taylor Swift. However, I do have to say that normally I'm here under happier circumstances. Usually I'm here with Tiffany, and we're, freaking out about an album or, just a bunch of different information that Taylor Swift brings out, a bunch of different stuff, whether it be a music video, whether it be news about Taylor Swift, usually happier circumstances. However, today's stream is not necessarily going to be completely happy just because we do have a little bit of like sad news and also a little bit of like upsetting news. So I think some of us are either going to come out of here mad, angry, or whatever the situation might be, because we are going to go ahead and talk about two different topics here today. So first and foremost, we are going to talk about Loverfest and the cancellation of Loverfest, which, as you guys all know, it just sucks so bad, but we're going to talk about that here today. And then we're also going to talk about the sexist joke that was made about Taylor Swift on two Netflix show. However, she did come out and call out one, which we will go ahead and get into that information today. So we're going to talk about both of those things. So guys, I'm already seeing all of your comments coming in. Keep sending them in because I do want to get your opinions on all of this, because as you know, the sexist jokes that Taylor Swift receives, this is not our first time talking about it, first time dealing with it. This is something that has unfortunately become a norm. And this is so messed up. And this is why Swifties are so mad, because so many people come out and attack Taylor for, dating men and all of this nonsense that they have said about her in the past. And that is why the Swifties and people are upset already, because we've had it already with people always trying to undermine Taylor and her work and all of this. So we are going to go ahead and talk about all of that stuff here today. So I'm going to kick things off actually talking about Loverfest while you guys get your comments in here as we get to it. So here we go. So this is okay. So I don't know how many of you guys know this, but when Loverfest was first announced and we were all excited and tickets went on sale, I went on here and I posted like all of these fun videos about Loverfest and getting ready for the concert. And then lo and behold, we were hit by a pandemic, and that obviously affected the entire landscape of everything that we know, including music tours and all of that. So Loverfest was unfortunately one of those concerts that was going to go ahead and essentially, for a second, we thought it was going to be postponed, but in the end, unfortunately, it ended up being canceled. So for those of you guys who do not remember, Loverfest was essentially like a bunch of dates that Taylor was going to do, but Loverfest East and West, which is what we're going to focus on here today, was supposed to be taking place July 25th, 2020 of last year, July 26th, 2020 of last year here in Inglewood. And then also she had 2 dates in Foxborough. So she had 4 dates of Loverfest East and West, which was obviously very different from what she normally does, very different from the 1989 World Tour, very different from the Red Tour, very different from all her past tours, including the Reputation Stadium Tour. This one was only going to be 4 dates, at least here in the United States. So for the most part, it was going to be a real big event. And as you guys all know, trying to get tickets for Loverfest was kind of an absolute mess, and it was insane. And I'm sad, personally speaking, because I had pit tickets, guys, for one of the shows, July 25th, 2020 at SoFi Stadium. I had freaking pit tickets, guys. Like, I'm so sad about it, just because my whole entire life, I've never bought pit tickets for anything, for anything. I was like, oh, I can't afford it. And then finally I decided to make payments, get the tickets. I couldn't believe it. I got the pit tickets, spend my hard-earned money, and this essentially got postponed, which, we all kind of knew it was going to happen, but now the fact that it's out there and that it's canceled, that is what sucks, guys. But here we go. Let's go ahead and put up the statement that Taylor Swift put out here. So this is essentially what she let everybody know about Loverfest. She says, I love coming on here to tell you good news or to share a new project with you. It's not my favorite thing in the world to have to tell you news I'm sad about. I'm so sorry, but I cannot reschedule the shows that we've postponed. Although refunds have been made available since we first postponed the Loverfest shows, many of you hung on to your tickets, and I too hung on to the idea that we could reschedule. I like that she also put this, because this is very true. A lot of people could have gotten their their refunds. However, because it was postponed, so many of us, like myself, were people that held hope that, maybe we would still be getting Loverfest. She continued on by saying this is an unprecedented pandemic that has changed everyone's plans, and no one knows what the touring landscape is going to look like in the near future. I'm so disappointed that I want to be able to see you in person as I wanted to. I miss you terribly and can't wait till we can all safely be at shows together. So obviously a lot has happened since Lover came out. She also had Folklore and Evermore come out. So we now essentially have 3 albums that we have not have a tour for. And I don't know when we're going to have a tour for. Right now, it's so hard to say. And it sucks so bad because, as you guys all know, Taylor was also going to be making history at the SoFi Stadium because she was going to be the first woman to ever open up an NFL stadium. And that was going to be happening here in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. So that is no longer taking place. However, I'm looking on the bright side of things. And the bright side of things are that, again, as we mentioned, we have 3 albums we need a tour for. So now, whenever we know that there's actually going to be concerts once again, I have a feeling that we're going to get a mixture of, all of these different songs. Obviously, the next concert that she does is going to be completely different. And who knows, maybe by then might even have another album to talk about. I don't know, because of the way Taylor Swift works, you just don't know anymore. So anyways, that is what's going on with Loverfest. So for those of you guys who had tickets and you're like, oh, I'm so bummed, if you had hope, just know that you're not alone. Obviously, Taylor's feeling it. We're all feeling it. We're all bummed out. But on the bright side, when the next concert happens, at least we'll be getting tons of different music to listen to. So guys, let me know if you guys have any comment. I know everybody's talking about the next topic that we're going to go ahead and talk about, but if you guys have any comments on Loverfest, go ahead and send them in and I'll go ahead and read some of these out loud and we'll kind of go there. But yeah, guys, I'm just so bummed out, guys. Here we go. This is a comment from Josh who says, "Hi, Denise. It's always good to see you. Wish it wasn't under such sad circumstances. It's heartbreaking. Taylor has gone through so much in her life, more than any one person should. It's just awful." Yeah, and here's the thing, too, is that I know a lot of people, and I've been seeing it, a lot of the locals, you're going to be seeing people say, like, oh, she's overreacting. She's always playing the victim. But a lot of people don't realize, because they don't necessarily follow along her career as some of us do, they don't realize how much, and I'm just going to say it, how much shit Taylor Swift has had to put up with nonstop, whether it be from the Kardashians, whether it be from Kanye West, whether it be from Scooter Braun and Scott Borchetta, Justin Bieber. Like, so many people are always constantly attacking her in everything she does. And she talked about this in Miss Americana. So if you guys want to listen to the entire, scope of how she explains things that she has had to deal with, listen to Miss Americana, because there you talk about it. On Miss Americana, she shows the news clips of all the things that people were saying about her. She shows, just everything that went down, especially with Kanye and Kim. And so I do think that even though some people may think that this comment is an overreaction, it's not, because it represents something greater than everything that's been going on. So let's see what you guys are saying, guys. We're going to go ahead and get into it. So for those of you guys who do not know what on earth is happening, I'm going to go ahead and explain. So real quickly, I'm going to put this graphic up. This is a screenshot that I took off of Twitter from a fan who posted this. And basically, there are 2 shows on Netflix right now at the moment, one of which is Degrassi Next Class, and the other one is Ginny and Georgia, which, I'll be real with you guys, had this scandal not happen, I would have not known anything about Ginny and Georgia. So if anything, this has given press to Ginny and Georgia, which is very upsetting. But okay, so we have Degrassi Next Class. And basically the comment here is, what was said was, "What do you care? You go through men faster than Taylor Swift." And then, actually they have these backwards, but then they have another comment, which was, "Taylor Swift made an entire career off of her exes." Okay, so these are actually swapped here, but they correspond to the shows there. So basically, people are upset at these comments because, as you guys know, Taylor Swift for years has been slut shamed. She has been slut shamed to the highest extreme of slut shaming, which is just so exhausting. You have no idea. And I think a lot of Swifties are mad because You have no idea what it's like to constantly be like hearing people say, oh, Taylor only writes songs about her exes. Oh, Taylor only, if you have it, she only dates guys so that she could write songs about them. Oh, and she just dates around and this and that and this and that. And the facts are so, so wrong. And people saw her, dating at a young age, and immediately they just went on her and they started slut shaming her. They started, taking away the fact that she was one of the few artists that was actually writing all of her music, and they didn't want to pay attention to that. Instead, they wanted to attack her for writing about her feelings, and they saw her as somebody that was just using men. And so that is why these types of jokes are really upsetting, not just to Taylor, but just to represent women as a whole. Because look, it's a double freaking standard. And Taylor Swift has talked about this. She has talked about this in interviews, how people like Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, who also write about, their feelings, their exes or whatever, they don't get shamed in the way that Taylor Swift does. And it just demeans her work, and it makes it seem like so much less than it is, just because of the ex situation on here. So, and this is it's just, okay, thank you. So Fightful basically says she has a stereotype applied to her based on a music video from over a decade ago. So it's basically what it is. It's a joke that was made, and it was made so often that it started to define her. And it's just, that is why this goes a long way. So I'm going to go ahead and read what Taylor Swift said, because as you guys know, Taylor Swift is also, she's a very gracious person. She gets so much hate and so much negativity. She doesn't always respond to those people. A lot of the time she does ignore it. She does brush it off. And so when Taylor actually speaks out on something, her words come with a lot of power. So here we go. Taylor Swift sent this out earlier today, and she put, this is directly to the Ginny and Georgia show. And it was, hey, Ginny and Georgia, 2010 called, and it wants its lazy, deeply sexist joke back. How about we stop degrading hardworking women by defining this horseshit as funny? Also, at Netflix, after Miss Americana, this outfit doesn't look cute on you. Happy Women's History Month, I guess. So this has been circling around, by the way, for the last maybe couple of days or so. So I'm actually really happy that Taylor waited until March 1st, which is Women's History Month, to put this out there, because she is one of those people that has fought so much for her rights as an artist, defending herself nonstop. And the fact that she has a relationship with Netflix, as you guys know, she did the Reputation Stadium tour video, and she also did the Miss Americana. The fact that, she has this relationship with Netflix, but then they're also sort of allowing these types of sexist comments to come up here. It's really uncalled for, okay? And people may see this and think, oh, it's not a big deal. They're just making fun of the fact that she goes through men really fast. Oh, we should laugh about it because it's a joke, right? Well, no, because this is something that has this has been something that so many people have used against her, have attacked her and undermined her work. So she puts this on here, and I'm glad that she called it lazy, because it is a lazy joke. And again, she references the year 2010, and I'm glad that she does this because it is something that has been done and was done so much previously. And so to bring it back in 2021 is really lazy. Right now, when, people are really bringing forth attention to women's rights, women's equality, and just so much that's going on with women, to bring a joke like this that is so sexist, it's just wrong and it's annoying. And I know that people feel like, oh, they can attack Taylor because she's famous or whatever, and it's okay because she's famous and she's rich. Not exactly. Again, go back to Miss Americana and please go back and read that, because she really opens up a lot about, the struggle of what it's like to be attacked in every single direction, to have people not believe your word, etc. She goes on about this like so much on there, and it's upsetting that Netflix puts out a platform. They put out her documentary, Miss Americana, and, they're all like, oh, women's rights, this and this, we're for the women, blah, blah, blah. And then they go out and essentially have, as of this moment that I know of, I went on Twitter probably a couple minutes before I went on here, and I have not seen any sort of apology, any sort of comment from Netflix, nothing. And part of me thinks that they're probably just going to ignore it. They probably just see this as like fans getting upset for no reason. I don't know. But as of this moment right now that I'm I'm doing this live stream, they have not commented on anything, which is very dumb because they're obviously going to want to have a relationship with Taylor Swift. Okay, so here we go, guys. Go ahead and send in your thoughts. I know we're getting quite a few, but let's see what you're saying here. So we have a comment from Sarah Frey, who says, it really is so sad. We were so excited, but I think she made the right decision. Oh, this is actually Sarah's comment is in regards to Loverfest, which we touched on earlier. And then let's see. Okay, this is Dazamillion says, love what you did, Denise, but geez, what do you think Taylor Swift is always the innocent party? Well, Dazamillion, that's actually a really ignorant comment, and I'm going to tell you why. So a lot of people say, oh, Taylor Swift was playing the victim, and one of those is when Kanye West essentially went up and disrupted her speech and, you know, didn't let her have her moment. Dude, if you're being acknowledged for something, some sort of work, it doesn't matter if you're famous or if you're not. If you're out there and you're doing something, I don't know, let's say you win Employee of the Month at your job. You go, you get your award. Nah, somebody comes up and says, nah, you know what, Dazamillion, you didn't deserve it. Joan from the art department deserved it. It's just, the fact that people don't see what went wrong there and just decided to go with victim, that she's playing the victim, is so dumb. Like, so dumb. Like, please put yourself in those shoes. Please put yourself in that situation and realize that she was not victim. She was not playing the victim here. And when people are constantly calling you a slut and they're making fun of the men that you've dated and they're making fun of you in period, you're telling me that that's not somebody that's being attacked. You're being attacked by people left and right. Eliza Peace Creates says, yeah, it wasn't cool at all, and it's getting old. It is so beyond old, guys. You have no idea. I've been a Taylor Swift fan since I was 14 years old, all right? That is now, that is about like many years from now. And I can tell you that this is something that has been said constantly, that I've heard of year after year after year, in every sense of the word. You have no idea just how blown out of proportion Taylor Swift was made to seem like some sort of man-eater. And it's just something that it's, you know, it's just very frustrating, guys. It's very frustrating. And I'm really glad that she actually spoke out about it, because yes, it is called sexism. You never hear this about men. If a man is going out with like tons of women or whatever, he's seen as playing the field. I mean, guys, listen to the song The Man that she even wrote. She talks about that there. And you never hear this about men. If men are going out with a bunch of women, oh, you know what? Good for him. He's trying to find the one. But if it's women, it's like, oh, she's a slut. She's this, she's that. And it's like, dude, like, what the hell? Can we just stop like for a second here? It's very frustrating to me. And, you know, that's why people get so angry and so upset, because when you do jokes like this, it just keeps adding to that. It just keeps adding to that mentality and keeps feeding that mentality. So here we go. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and send in your comments. Okay, here we go. We have a comment from Brianna who says, I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan, but I don't think she plays the victim at all. I think she is the hero in her own story. I like that she sticks up for herself. She really does. And this isn't even a situation. I'm not even just talking about the slut shaming stuff, guys. There's so much other stuff that she has had to deal with her, you know, master's rights. And I've done so many other podcasts on that. So that's a different topic for a different time. But I have talked about that. There's been so many other different things that have happened where it's like constantly people just trying to find a way to attack her. And that's what it is. And I think personally, I think a lot of people sometimes don't like Taylor because she does everything by the book. And she is, I know a lot of people don't see this, but she's still that like good girl type of celebrity. And that's why I think a lot of people don't necessarily like her and they don't like her. We do have a super chat from Christopher Hendricks. Thank you so much for sending in the super chat. It says, I hope she wins every award at the Grammys. Yeah, we'll see what happens at the Grammys. I can't wait. She's nominated, I believe, for 6 Grammys. So I can't wait to see what, you know, what's going to happen there. Okay, so guys, go ahead and send in any other comments that I might have missed earlier about what you guys thought about this situation. But I'm going to go ahead and keep talking about this because there is some more stuff that I wanted to share in regards to this. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this up here. So one of the things that everybody is talking about in regards to this is that Netflix, the show Ginny and Georgia, this is the cast here, which, they're just the cast. But okay, so what people are talking about too is the fact that this show is actually created by a woman. And this is the director's list, all women except for one man. And the writers are also, a majority of them are also women. And so that is another thing that it's just like, why people are upset. So the creator is actually Sarah Lampert. This is Sarah Lampert here. She is the creator of Ginny and Georgia, and she is also one of the writers here. So that also brings up a whole issue with it itself, is that not only do we always have to deal with men attacking women, but we also have to deal with women attacking women. And it's very, very disappointing. And I hope, and I went on Sarah's Twitter page to see if she maybe had responded. I haven't seen any comments from Sarah or again from anyone from Netflix. So I really do hope that they actually issue some sort of apology to Taylor and realize that this is not the type of content that a woman should be putting out in regards to another woman. Like, we're already getting hate from all different directions. You don't need it from your own kind, especially as women. We know what it's like to be women, and we know what it's like to be, judged, harassed, whatever the case may be, whether it be physically, verbally, whatever. We know what it's like. So you don't want to be that person that piles on here. So that is one of the things that I wanted to go ahead and bring up as well, because it is a big conversation in regards to all of this issue with the Ginny and Georgia and the Degrassi statement. But this one specifically for the Ginny and Georgia, since that is the show that Taylor actually spoke out against too. So here we go. This is actually, I took this from BuzzFeed because they had some pretty quotes that I wanted to go ahead and circle back on here. So this is basically when she talks about, what it's like being her 19-year-old self and being asked in 2016. They asked her what she wanted to tell her old 19-year-old self about things that she had to deal with. And she said, and I quote, "You're going to date just like a normal 20-something-year-old should be allowed to, but you're going to be in front of you're going to be a national lightning rod for slut shaming." So she talks about this in her Vogue interview, and she basically, this one line, I don't know, but I feel like it really puts it in perspective, because I know, like, just think about like your own life and people that, you've dated. And it's like, imagine if people were like, because you're famous, people are putting it out there and they're judging you. And it's just like, oh, and I think she really nailed it in this quote when she said, "You become a national lightning rod for slut shaming." And that is exactly what happened. And even she talks about this in Miss Americana, where she sort of had to, dismantle this own thought process that she had in her own brain, tear that down and build her own mentality up, because so many of us have been, taught that, like, oh, if you're a woman and you date a bunch of guys, you're a slut, right? And she talks about breaking that down, because she is one of those people that, experienced that. Another quote that she said was, "I'm trying to be as educated as possible on how to respect people, on how to deprogram," here we go, this is it, "on how to deprogram the misogyny in my own brain, toss it out, reject it, and resist it." This is exactly what she said in her Miss Americana documentary. She goes on to say, like, there is no such thing as a slut. There's no such thing as a bitch. There's no such thing as someone who's bossy. There's just a boss. And I think she really nails this in her song, "The Man." So after all of this came out, obviously, the fans and people started, coming at her side and just basically saying that this is BS. We need to stop. And we did have several different topics that began trending on Twitter, and I got this from the Swift Society. So credit to the Swift Society for sharing this. Hashtags like, "We love you, Taylor," "Go off, Queen," Taylor, Miss Americana, tell them we're trending, because again, guys, we are sick of this. We're tired of this all the time. Just take those jokes away and appreciate a woman's hard work for what it is, and what it is hard work, and nobody works harder than Taylor Swift right here. Okay, guys, go ahead and send in your comments. I know you guys sent a few. I might have missed a couple of them, but I'm going to go ahead and read them. And let's see what we're seeing here. And Marcus Munoz says, Netflix greenlighted this knowing Taylor is going to get mad. Well, that is also part of the reason why Taylor, obviously tagged them. So I hope that Netflix actually has a comment, a statement in regards to this. Sharon Silva says she might stop working with Netflix. Well, she did do her Folklore Long Pond studio sessions with Disney. And right now, as people, the streaming sites are fighting for, trying to get the best content out there, trying to get the best viewers out there. So I don't necessarily think that Netflix wants to get Taylor Swift on their bad side. So I do hope that they issue some sort of statement and are able to work that out, because again, she does have two Miss Americana, a documentary, and then the Reputation Stadium tour that is on Netflix. Rachel Schallenbarger says, on a positive note, my birthday is tomorrow. Happy early birthday, Rachel. You're always one of my viewers on here. So I really appreciate you coming on here, and I really hope you have an awesome birthday. I really, really do. Carrie Forster brings up a good comment, says, women like burning witches too. Women like hunting witches too. Yes, exactly. And then let's see what else we got here. And then Marcus Wright, says there's more important stuff going on in the world than hating on one person. There is more important stuff going on in the world. And yeah, we're dealing with COVID and stuff, but that also doesn't mean that we're not allowed to worry about or, get upset about other things. There's a lot of different things that are going on. So yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments. We have a comment from Josh, who says, I have cerebral palsy, so I tell you firsthand that being targeted for no reason is a real thing. So to not understand that's what's happening to Taylor is sad. Yeah, and people, have different situations. So here we go. A-Shock says Taylor deemed Degrassi irrelevant. These are, to be honest, guys, these are two shows that I was never even gonna watch whatsoever. Like, I wasn't going to watch this whatsoever. So for me, it doesn't really make a difference. Tay Boogie says, I just feel bad for Antonia. She doesn't deserve the hate. So in terms of I don't necessarily blame the actors or anything like that. I think it's the writers. They're the ones that did it. They're the ones that put it out there. They're the ones that thought that it was funny or whatever. So for me, I feel the blame is on the writers, on those people, and obviously on Netflix as well. Let's see. All right, guys. So there you guys go. That is pretty much everything that's going on right now with the cancellation of Loverfest and the situation with the Ginny and Georgia show. So I think at the end of this whole entire stream, the message that I guess we should just go ahead and put out there is that don't disregard women's work just because you think that they just write about their feelings and their exes. If that's what you think, you should definitely check your facts before you think something like that. We have another super chat. Thank you so much to Chris, who says, sadly, when you become successful, you become a target. Yeah, especially when you're at the top of your game. And I know a lot of people don't like to admit the fact that Taylor Swift is the music industry. She's at the very, very top of the music industry. And it pains a lot of people to hear that, but it's the truth. Look at the albums, look at the numbers, look at all of that stuff. She is one of those people that is up there, and nobody is doing what Taylor Swift is doing. So yeah, she is very successful, and she is going to be a target for sure. So there you guys go. That is pretty much the stream. So I just want to put that message out there, get all the information out here as best we know it. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if the creators of the show, Ginny and Georgia, or the writers or Netflix or anybody in the next couple of hours or days or so says something about this or addresses this. And we'll see what happens, guys. But that is pretty much the stream. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I hope that you guys will share your thoughts in the comment section below. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, I do want to let you guys know that I am working on more Taylor Swift related content that is coming. I still have to rank Evermore. I know I haven't even done that yet. It's been like a crazy last few months. So I'm trying to get all of that stuff out there. And I also want to do more of my game live streams that you guys have been part of for the Taylor Swift stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do some more of that. But guys, do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Love you all. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, everyone. Take care.